Hi team, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So probably we have discussed one of the few interview questions that basically been asked, like symmetric encryption, asymmetric encryption. What are the different sort of keys they basically use? So those all things we have discussed in details, and we have also discussed regarding uh, the formation of we can say CIA trade, and how actually we can do vulnerability assessment, what is the scope of that. And also we have discussed certain videos or certain questions which are prior important whenever you are going to attempt any interview. So in this video we'll be having common interview questions for cybersecurity role along with their answers, basically related to OSI, open source system interconnection model. Okay, OSI basically stands for, and those seven layer uh, diagram, which basically signifies what is the actual use of that. Everything we'll be discussing in details. So this is how actually it looks like, folks. Okay, let me take my leisure to make you understand. Okay, application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. So these OSI model we are being learning from our graduation itself, I can even say. So what is the actual use of this, and have an understanding regarding how actually it is been useful when it when it comes for cyber security. So one of the prior question which basically been asked is that what is OSI model and why it is important in network and cybersecurity. So OSI model is very important in true perspective. One is network and there is cybersecurity. Because why? Because the OSI model is a conceptual framework. Okay, is a conceptual framework that standardize the functions of telecommunication of a computing system into seven abstraction layer. Okay, so these are the seven abstraction layer. Okay, so these layers, from the physical to the application, from the physical to the application layer, provides a structured way to understand and troubleshoot network communication. In cybersecurity, the OSI model basically helps analysts to isolate and identify issues with at a specific layer. Okay, so in which layer we in which layer we need to have our remediation, or we can say prevention measures. So those all things we can identify, and which is the best specific layer in which the system has been impacted, or we can say what actually had happened in which layer. That's the main intention of why we are using in the field of security, or we can say. Okay, just make a note we of this. We might be getting, or we might be understanding that there is a concept called APSTNDP. Abstent P basically stands for application presentation. Just make a note of first word of every session and try to make A for apple, P for pineapple, S for strawberry, or you can say S for we can say, yeah, strawberry, T for train, or N for we can say. Just make a note of this and such that you can remember based upon the beginning of the word or letter. So you can brief explain each layer of OSI model. So basically the next question which is basically been asked is, can you briefly explain the meaning of different models basically been used. So first layer is physical layer. So okay, so physical layer basically deals with the physical concept between devices such as cables and hardwares. Okay, so that comes under physical layer. Okay, whenever we are having our CPUs, monitors, our hardware systems, our LANs, our LAN cables, our pen drives, so those all comes under the layer one strategy, that is physical layer. Then after we have data link layer, so manages the flow of data frames over a physical network links, addressing and error detections. Okay, so that's basically comes with data link layer. Okay, manages the flow of data frames over a physical network, or over a physical or a physical environment, and also addressing an error detection. Okay, just I want to repeat, manages the flow of data frames over a physical network link, addressing and also for error detections. Then after coming to network layer, so basically responsible for logical addresses. Okay, We can even say routing and forwarding of data packets between devices on different networks. Okay, then after we have transport layer. So transport layer basically manages end-to-end communication. Okay, end-to-end communication, like ensuring data integrity and reliable data transfer. Okay, then after session layer, so just make a note of data network layer. So network layer basically responsible for logical addressing, routing and forwarding of data packets between devices on different network. Okay, so whenever we are forwarding different packets of data, routing the devices from one network to another network, from one device to another device, in that scenario, in that case, we basically comes with a layer known as network layer. Then after transport layer, so layer 4 strategy, one is transport layer, which basically manages end-to-end communication, ensuring the data integrity and reliable data transform. Okay, so that's how actually the transport layer basically comes with underplay. Then after session layer, so session layer basically establishes and maintains the and terminates the connection between applications. And presentation layer, so basically presentation layer basically translates the data between the application layer and the lower layer, and also ensuring the compatibility between different layers. Okay, so that's how actually a presentation layer basically helps us to have the data transfer between application and also from lower to higher. Okay, and application layer basically provides, okay, presentation layer we have discussed. Application layer basically provides the network services directly to end user and application processes. Okay, so make a note that we are dealing with the 7 set of layers. One is physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer and application layer. I just want to repeat: physical, data, network, transport, session, presentation and application. Okay, so these are the different layers and I have briefed it very slowly. And the third number question, which basically comes with how does the OSI model relates to cybersecurity? Definitely OSI model related to cybersecurity for several reasons, I can even say. So one is isolation of issues. So isolation of issues basically says about that it allows the analyst to isolate and troubleshoot problems at any specific layer, aiding in the identification of security threats or vulnerabilities. Okay, so that's how actually the OSI model basically helps in isolation of issues. Okay, then after security protocols, so means security measures such as encryption and firewalls are often implemented at specific layer, right? So example I can say transport layer and application layer to protect the data ensuring the transmission or during the transmission. Okay, then after we have understanding attack vectors. So when it comes for understanding attack vector, the model basically helps the analyst understand the potential attack vectors at different set of layers and also allowing for more effective threat detection and response. Okay, so this is how actually the three concept known as isolation of issues as then after security protocols and understanding the attack vectors. Okay, so this is how the OSI model basically refers with and helps us to remediate the things and give a better enhancement and with better visibilities of how actually the OSI model helps us to eradicate the things and helps us in gruesome in glooming our security postures whenever it comes with like isolation of issues, or we can say even security protocols or understanding the attack vector scenarios. And fourth number question that comes with that, Can How does encryption fit into the OSI model? So encryption fits into OSI model. Encryption is typically implemented at the presentation layer. Okay, so encrypting all the scenarios and encrypting the typical or encryption. Okay, basically implemented in presentation layer or level layer 6, or we can say application layer 7 of the OSI model. So this ensures that the data is encrypted before transmission and decrypt upon recipient, providing a secure communication between the channel and application. Okay, so this is how actually the encryption fits into the OSI model, either in 6, either in 7, sixth layer or seventh layer. Okay, can you give an example of cybersecurity threat at each layer? Cybersecurity threat at each layer. Physical layer, what is the theft, or what is the security of this? Unauthorized physical access to network equipments, or we can say dealing with different gadgets. I can say like someone has taken my network, someone has taken my mouse, monitor, RAM, CPU. So that's unauthorized, okay, without my access. Data link layer, MAC address spoofing or man in the middle attack. Okay, so that's basically comes with data link layer. Transport layer, IP snooping or distributed denial of service attack, DDoS attack. Transport layer, TCP or IP hijacking or session hijacking. Session layer, session hijacking or session replay attacks. Presentation layer, code injection or malicious data format manipulations. Application layer, cross-site scripting or SQL injection, or application layer DDoS attack. So these question and answers basically provides a foundation for discussing the OSI model in the context of cybersecurity during an interview for the position of cybersecurity analyst. Okay, I have briefed it every detail of how actually the questions basically comes. Okay, whenever you are attempting for cybersecurity analyst. Thank you, folks.